The year was 48 AC. The Iron Throne, a monstrous symbol of conquest and dominion, had seen its share of turmoil. Upon it now sat a boy, barely a man, thrust into the crucible of leadership at the tender age of 14. His name was Jaehaerys Targaryen, the first of his name, and his reign would span 55 years, marking one of the most prosperous and peaceful epochs in Westerosi history. Jaehaerys' ascension was not one of triumph or celebration. He inherited a realm still reeling from the brutal reign of his predecessor, Maegor the Cruel. The Seven Kingdoms, barely held together by the might of dragons, were fractured by fear, suspicion, and simmering rebellion. The young king, slight of frame but sharp of mind, faced a monumental task. He had to heal a kingdom wounded by tyranny and prove his worthiness to rule. His reign, a beacon of stability and progress, would stand in stark contrast to the darkness that preceded it. Jaehaerys, the Boy King, would become Jaehaerys the Conciliator, a legend whispered in hushed tones long after his reign. His story is one of resilience, wisdom beyond his years, and an unwavering commitment to justice and peace. It is a story that begins not with the roar of dragons, but with the quiet determination of a Boy King to bind up the wounds of his kingdom and usher in a new era of peace. It is the story of Jaehaerys Targaryen, the king who would heal a realm. Jaehaerys inherited a kingdom teetering on the brink. His predecessor, Maegor I, known as Maegor the Cruel, had left an indelible mark on Westeros, a scar etched deep with fire and blood. Maegor's reign was one of unrestrained brutality, marked by paranoia, religious persecution, and wanton violence. The faith of the Seven, once a pillar of stability, had been brutally suppressed. The faith militant, their swords blessed for holy war, had risen in open rebellion against the Iron Throne. The great lords, cowed by Maegor's ruthlessness, had retreated to their castles, their loyalties uncertain. The realm was awash with whispers of atrocities, tales of torture in the dungeons of Red Keep, of dragons unleashed upon unsuspecting towns, and of the king's capricious cruelty sent chills down the spines of even the bravest knights. Maegor's shadow loomed large over the Seven Kingdoms, a specter of fear that haunted the living and cast a pall over Jaehaerys' ascension. The young king inherited not a kingdom united, but a collection of disparate regions, bound only by the tenuous threads of fear and the fading memory of Aegon, the conqueror's might. The task before him was Herculean, to rebuild trust, to mend the rifts between crown and faith, and to quell the simmering rebellions that threatened to tear the realm asunder. Jaehaerys' claim to the Iron Throne, while seemingly secure, was not without its detractors. Whispers of illegitimacy followed him from the moment he donned the crown. His father, Aenys I, had been a weak and indecisive ruler, easily manipulated by those around him. Rumors circulated that Jaehaerys' mother, Alyssa Velaryon, had been unfaithful to the king, that her children were not of true Targaryen blood. These whispers, fueled by the enemies of the Targaryen dynasty, found fertile ground in the aftermath of Maegor's reign. The faith of the Seven, still smarting from Maegor's persecution, questioned the legitimacy of a king born from potentially adulterous relations. Powerful lords, sensing an opportunity to advance their own ambitions, lent their support to rival claimants. The seeds of doubt, once sown, were difficult to eradicate. Jaehaerys, young and untested, could ill afford to ignore these challenges. He needed to consolidate his power, to secure the loyalty of the realm, and to silence those who questioned his right to rule. His legitimacy was not just a matter of lineage, it was the foundation upon which the stability of the realm rested. The young king, faced with a multitude of challenges, acted with a decisiveness that belied his age. He understood that to rule effectively, he needed to address the immediate threats to his throne. His first act was to reach out to the faith of the Seven, seeking to heal the wounds inflicted by his predecessor. He offered concessions, promising to respect the faith's authority and to end the persecution of its followers. This act of conciliation, a hallmark of Jaehaerys' reign, earned him the respect of the faith's leadership and quelled the flames of religious rebellion. Next, he turned his attention to the lords who had risen against the Iron Throne during Maegor's reign. Some were offered pardons in exchange for their renewed fealty. Others, those who continued to defy the crown, were dealt with swiftly and decisively. Jaehaerys understood the power of dragons. He rode his magnificent dragon, Vermithor, to subdue rebellious lords, demonstrating the might of the Targaryen dynasty. His victories, though often bloodless, sent a clear message rebellion would not be tolerated. Section 5. The Hand of the Conciliator, a time for healing. With the immediate threats contained, Jaehaerys turned his attention to the long and arduous task of healing the realm. He recognized that true stability could not be achieved through force alone. He needed to earn the trust and loyalty of his people. In this endeavor, he found a steadfast ally in his sister wife, the wise and capable Queen Alysanne. Together, they embarked on a series of royal progresses throughout the Seven Kingdoms. They visited towns and villages, listened to the grievances of the small folk, and dispensed justice with an even hand. Jaehaerys' reign was marked by a spirit of reconciliation and a genuine desire to understand the needs of his people. He reformed the royal court, purging it of corrupt officials and replacing them with men and women of integrity and ability. He established a system of royal justice, ensuring that even the lowliest peasant had access to the king's law. Section 6. The Reign of Law, Jaehaerys Code. Central to Jaehaerys' vision for a united and prosperous Westeros was the establishment of a clear and comprehensive legal code. For centuries, the Seven Kingdoms had been governed by a patchwork of disparate laws and customs, often open to interpretation and abuse. This legal ambiguity had been a source of conflict and instability. Jaehaerys, with the assistance of his council and the most learned maesters in the realm, set about codifying the laws. His goal was to create a single, unified legal system that applied equally to all, regardless of birth or station. The result was Jaehaerys' Code, a monumental achievement that transformed the legal landscape of Westeros. The code addressed a wide range of issues, from criminal justice to property rights, from inheritance laws to the regulation of trade. It established a system of royal courts and appointed judges chosen for their impartiality and knowledge of the law. Section 7. A Golden Age Dawns, Prosperity under Jaehaerys. Under Jaehaerys' wise and benevolent rule, Westeros entered a golden age of peace and prosperity. With the realm united and the threat of rebellion quelled, trade flourished, the cities grew, and the arts and sciences thrived. The king, a patron of learning, established the first royal library in the Red Keep, attracting scholars and artists from across the Seven Kingdoms. He invested heavily in infrastructure, building new roads and bridges, improving harbors, and expanding irrigation systems. These projects not only facilitated trade and communication, but also provided employment opportunities for the common folk. The realm, once scarred by war and division, began to heal. The faith of the Seven, reconciled with the crown, played a vital role in this era of peace. They established schools and hospitals, tending to the needs of the body and soul. The Septon and Septas became respected figures in their communities, their influence extending far beyond the walls of the Sept. Section 8. The Wise and the Strong, a King Remembered. Jaehaerys from Targaryen, the boy who ascended the Iron Throne amidst chaos and uncertainty, proved to be one of the greatest rulers in Westerosi history. He earned the moniker the Conciliator not through brute force, but through wisdom, diplomacy, and a genuine desire to understand and address the needs of his people. He understood that true power lay not in wielding a sword, but in wielding the hearts and minds of his subjects. He was a king who listened, who sought counsel from those wiser than himself, and who ruled with compassion and justice. His reign was a testament to the power of reconciliation, a beacon of hope in a world often defined by conflict and strife. He showed that even in the darkest of times, even after the most brutal of reigns, it was possible to rebuild, to heal, and to forge a more just and prosperous future. Section 9. A Legacy of Peace, the Seeds of Discord. Despite the peace and prosperity of Jaehaerys' reign, the seeds of future conflict were sown in the very actions that brought about unity. The Targaryen dynasty, though seemingly unassailable, was not immune to the vagaries of human nature. Jaehaerys' long reign, while a blessing for the realm, also created a problem of succession. With so many children and grandchildren, the line of inheritance became tangled. The question of who would succeed Jaehaerys became a source of tension and intrigue within the royal family itself. Furthermore, the suppression of the faith militant, while necessary to restore order, did not erase the underlying tensions between the crown and the faith. The seeds of religious fervor, once planted, could easily be rekindled, waiting for the right moment to burst forth once more. Section 10. Echoes of the Conciliator, Jaehaerys' enduring impact. Jaehaerys the Targaryen breathed his last in 103 AC, after a reign of 55 years. He left behind a kingdom transformed, united, and prosperous. His legacy extended far beyond his death, shaping the destiny of Westeros for generations to come. His legal reforms, enshrined in Jaehaerys' code, remained the foundation of Westerosi law for centuries. His emphasis on justice and fairness influenced generations of rulers, even as the Targaryen dynasty itself eventually crumbled. The memory of his reign served as a reminder that even in a world as harsh and unforgiving as Westeros, peace and prosperity were achievable goals. The echoes of his reign, of his wisdom and compassion, continued to resonate long after his passing, a testament to the enduring power of a just and righteous king. Section 11. Conclusion. The greatest Targaryen. The question of whether Jaehaerys I Targaryen was the greatest ruler to sit upon the Iron Throne is one that historians and scholars will debate for centuries to come. There is no doubt that he was a remarkable figure, a king who inherited a realm on the brink of collapse and left it stronger and more united than ever before. His long reign, marked by peace, prosperity, and justice, stands in stark contrast to the reigns of many of his predecessors and successors. He was a king who understood the true meaning of leadership, who ruled not through fear and intimidation, but through wisdom, compassion, and a genuine desire to serve his people. In the annals of Westerosi history, the name Jaehaerys I Targaryen will forever be synonymous with peace, prosperity, and justice. He was the Conciliator, the king who healed a realm, and his legacy will continue to inspire awe and admiration for generations to come.